I'm working on doing a coolant flush on my C5 Corvette. So far, I have drained the coolant that was in the car and then put the plug back in when it was done and filled it with distilled water that I have here. So I filled it up to the normal level it should be, and then started the car and got it up to normal operating temp. I think that these have 186 degree thermostat factory. I think that it's a factory thermostat in this car. So I got it up to normal operating temp and make sure that the thermostat opens up and all of the coolant mixes so that the distilled water is mixing with the coolant that's left in the engine, and will kind of flush everything out the best that it can. So now I have it draining, so it's draining out that distilled water, or mixture of distilled water and coolant that was left in the engine. So here's the plug, and it sits in the car vertically, and then you just have to do a quarter turn and pull it out, and then it will come out of the hole. And if you pull it all of the way out, it'll come out much faster, and it will come out the hole that it goes in right there. So that's what I did to help make it go by quicker. I think that I'm probably fine at this point to just fill it up with coolant and be done. I'll look in the bucket after and see if there's any debris left. It wouldn't hurt to fill it with distilled water again, cycle it, warm the car up again, and then let it cool down, flush it back out, or drain it back out. But I think that I'm pretty safe to just fill it with coolant. I made the decision that I would just fill it up with coolant rather than flushing again with distilled water. I think that the coolant in the car really didn't look that bad. I don't think it was all that old. So I think just getting rid of that and putting new coolant in it is great, and giving it a round of flushing with distilled water is even better. So I don't think it needs to be flushed again with distilled water until it comes out totally clear. I think it's going to be just fine. So I also think I'll end up changing the coolant in it probably yearly, being that I want to take it to the track and be pretty hard on it. So I think that it'll be just fine. So I went with DexCool. There's a bunch of people that think it's the way to go, and a bunch of people that don't think it's the way to go if you look on forums and whatnot. So it's totally a preference thing. That's what was in the car. So it's been in the car for a long time, and I think it'll be just fine. So maybe I'll switch to something else if I hear something that's way better. But for now, it'll be good. And I bought the ready-to-use stuff, the 50-50 mixed, because I bought it before I decided I was going to flush it with distilled water. So being that I did that, I'll test it with a tester just to see where I'm actually at, because I'm assuming there's some watered down coolant that was in the engine that was left in there when after draining, and then when I filled it up. So it may be a touch under, and under the 50-50 mix, might be a little more, maybe like 55% water. So I will test it, and I left it a little bit low so that I can add a little straight coolant if I need to, and I can just drain a little bit out if I need to, and then add a little straight coolant to get it where it's got to be. But if you are gonna flush it out with distilled water, it's probably better to just get straight coolant and fill it up halfway with just straight coolant, maybe a little over if there's a little distilled water left in the engine, or watered down coolant with distilled water, and then you can add the rest water, or add water for the rest, and you'll be in good shape. And I've already filled it up and then run the car until it was up to temp, and it didn't use a lot, but added until it was full. So at this point, I'll probably just take it for a drive and then add as needed. So I think that'll be just fine. And that will complete my coolant flush.